Oh my God, did you guys hear this? Like, this totally caught me off surprise. Trump was arraigned today in New York City. Did you guys hear about this or anything? You'd think that there'd be better coverage on... I know, there's only so long we can keep that joke running, but there's actually some new information to come out as well, because we've seen the 34 different felony charges that are out there, and it basically all amounts to Michael Cohen paid a hooker, and then he got reimbursed, and every single charge comes down to every reimbursement, every check that was cut, and every pay stub that they could come out with, and that just proves falsified documents. How do they get around to in furtherance of another felony? Not entirely sure. And why didn't they charge Trump with a conspiracy on top of that? So they're alleging, at direct advice from Trump himself, all stemming from a plot that was hatched well over 10 years ago, at the point when all of this stuff apparently went down. Every single felony charge that Alvin, we cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conducts, Bragg. Yo, this dude is the DA for Manhattan, and he has the audacity to say that, where you can just walk down the street and get accosted and have somebody run your pockets at a moment's notice. Sure thing, pal. I mean, yo, have you ever heard of anybody could possibly be more delusional than this fat bastard? But without further ado, let's get into the facts of this, because Trump pleads not guilty in 34-count indictment. Was anybody expecting anything else? And if you were, well, sorry to hear about that brain damage. Hopefully that helmet that you need to wear 24/7 fits appropriately. Trump, or Donald Trump to everybody in the know, former and more than likely future president and frontrunner for the Republican presidential nominee. Wow, another big revelation we have here today. For 2024, pleaded not guilty in New York on April 4th to an unprecedented indictment brought by the Manhattan District Attorney, which he brought it. It's just kind of scant on facts. But don't worry, we've actually got some documents that I haven't seen anybody go over quite yet. And in case you guys didn't know, I'm going to be doing a stream tomorrow. And I was going to be doing it on one video that's out there. And we're just going to have to put that one on the back burner, because I think Trump's press conference from later tonight, it's probably going on or is about to go on by the time this video gets posted. So I think we'll probably react to that, because that's going to be funny as all hell, because that is going to be Trump in 2015, 2023 mode, whatever the hell we want to call it in this point in time. He's going to be revved up and ready to go, and that's going to be fun. And then on Saturday, there's, just to give you guys a heads up for the streaming schedule for Saturday as well, all of this stuff is going to be 7 p.m. 7 p.m. in the evening, obviously, and that's what PM implies. Mountain time, so that would be 9 out west, or 9 out east, 6 in the west, 8 in the central. Okay? Saturday though, there's a video of Ben Shapiro giving dating advice that I think could be probably one of the funniest things we could possibly do, so anticipate that one for Saturday. But Trump's speech, I'm going to have to pre-screen it as well, so that's why we're not going to stream it live tonight. We'll go over it tomorrow, because I don't know how much of that stuff we can go on YouTube, and if it's too spicy, then we'll just go exclusively on Rumble, because frankly, I don't care about YouTube at this point in time. You're dinking me around every single corner, and well, if I want to cover something, I'm going to find the way to cover it, okay? In a return to the saga, which began shortly after he won the 2016 election, the district attorney charged Trump with 34 counts, felony counts. All of them are felonies. Which is all, it's so weird. In order to reach that felony statute, because falsifying business documents, normally a misdemeanor. But if you can get it up to that felony, which is being alleged right here, it needs to be in furtherance of another crime. And what's Bragg alleging? Because it's not in the charging document. Oh, hell no, it's not down there in that. It's just all vague allusions to it. So is going to be a disaster when it does eventually go to trial, which has also been speculated to begin January 2024, a minute before the presidential primary. Like, yo, are you guys having a laugh? But I was also watching the coverage of all this stuff when it was going down. I was watching Crowder stuff because I was training at the same time, and it was just good to have on in the background. Nick Rekieta also peeked on for a second, and he said he anticipates, and it's highly likely. He is a lawyer, after all, and a funny motherfucker, but he's also thinking that this is going to continue to get delayed down the line, and either side could be delaying it, but I would think the Trump side of this probably just wants this to be dealt with really quickly because, okay, you guys have all the goods. Let's run the pockets, shall we? But no, you'll probably see motions to delay from the DA side of this in order to just further their obfuscation of facts and real legitimate evidence, because as much as they're trying to allege that by paying out, as they like to say, hush money, it's an NDA, bro. You can pay anybody for literally anything, okay? It's a payment for services rendered. Also at the behest of Michael Cohen, because all of this is predicated on Donald Trump, because all of the charges, none of it's conspiracy. This was from the direction of Trump himself. Michael, okay, excuse me, you need to pay Stormy over there. She needs to get paid, okay, and we'll just make sure, hey, some people told me that you need to get paid, and we'll just take it from over here through the Trump organization, the best organization ever. We'll just make sure that you get paid the money, because I'm a man of my word. You know, you probably heard this before, but a Trump always pays his debts. That's what everybody says. Oh, that's what they need to string together, and they're going to require, even though January of 2024, 10 months, 9 months from now, I think they're also probably waiting for the Georgia stuff to drop, and then the federal stuff as well, because, hey man, if you don't actually have a fire that you can point to, you can just kick up enough dust and go, look, smoke. Because, again, it's just all going to be scant on facts. Once the Georgia stuff comes out, we'll have to find a way to go and listen. And that's why it's so great that Rumble's here. Listen to those perfect phone calls with Brad Raffensperger, which was taken down all over YouTube. But that's another topic for another time. Run that stuff back if you want to see the recordings in full. I'm pretty sure they're still over on Rumble, but that stuff is like 2-3 years old at this point in time. Anywho, all 34 counts of falsifying business records in connection to a payment for a non-disclosure agreement signed by adult professional whore, Stormy Daniels, and Trump's then attorney, Michael Cohen. So again, what does Trump have to specifically do with this? Michael Cohen was his fixer and he paid her hush money. Fucking stupid media. For a president who faced an unprecedented second impeachment, a years-long aggressive inquiry into alleged collusion with Russia, and the raid of his private residence, a Manhattan indictment is the latest, most dramatic episode in what he and his supporters see as a weaponization of government against political opponents. That's why it's going to be interesting to see what he says, because we haven't heard anything else, and Bragg also didn't in his little stupid waddly press conference. He had some time to kill before the pizza rolls come out of the oven, so he just went up there and he spoke for like 10-15 minutes, answered a couple of questions, and then waddled back off stage. No mention at all whatsoever to a gag order. That's why I'm going to be very interested to see what Trump has to say with his big speech tonight, which is probably going to do quite a few numbers. It's streaming exclusively over on Rumble as well, but we are going to take a look at the Alvin Bragg side of this argument, and let's make this bigger because your boy's kind of blind. So if we can go ahead and zoom in a little bit, just a little bit, I think, and that should be good. It's just going to be the margins that get cut off anyways. So without further ado, it's 13 pages in total, but some of them it's just fluff anyways. We could have taken a look at the charges themselves, but trust me, it's 34 different ways of saying Michael Cohen did some shit and he got paid for it. Cool, bet. But this is the statement of fact. Okay, so this is the equivalent of a signed affidavit by the DA's office of everything that they have on their side, their underlying cause for making these charges. So there could be some interesting theories at play here, so might as well take a look at this because I haven't seen anybody else break this down yet. So the defendant, Donald J. Trump, repeatedly and fraudulently falsified New York business records to concern criminal conduct that hid damaging information from the voting public during the 2016 presidential election. Hilarious. What was that about Hillary's emails and Hunter Biden's laptop? Oh, right. No, that wasn't hiding information. Right. Anyways, from August 2015 to December 2017, the defendant orchestrated a scheme with others to influence the 2016 presidential election by identifying and purchasing negative information about him to suppress its publication and benefit the defendant's electoral prospects. Okay, but you're also talking about the scheme that had been in place with the National Enquirer with David Pecker. Yes, that Pecker. Not that Pecker, that Pecker. To, once he gets wind of any information, any sort of salacious tales of some Trump debauchery, even if it's just false claims that are out there, and keep an ear close to the ground. And again, National Enquirer back in 2006, in, on, and around that area, that was the go-to rag. They were still printing like Bat Boy stories and all that stuff. So if anybody heard any rumors about Trump and his very well-known ways in New York City, you would get those stories, okay, and see how much money it would have to take in order to make that story go away, or if you could just pressure them and just make them go away as well. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing illegal with that at all whatsoever. You can buy up a story and never put it to print. Great, wonderful, fantastic. That's what happens with a whole host of these Me Too cases that are out there. It's just somebody trying to run some pockets of somebody far more famous in an attempt to get a quick payday. This has been the practice in certain circles for a long time. And it's something that thankfully is kind of going out of vogue, because you take a look at what happened to Michael Jackson, which I need to do a rundown video on that one specifically, because I think that would be an interesting case to revisit, especially in today's day and age, where one of the first cases that was out there, one of the civil cases in early 2000 or the late 90s, under the advice of Sony, who may or may not have played a hand in the assassination of Michael Jackson. More on that story. Razor Fist actually has a 3 or a 4-part series, or yeah, if you lump in the interview that he did with Taj Jackson and I forget the other Jackson that was there, but you lump in the interview into that, and yeah, he's got some pretty credible theories behind the stuff because he looked at all of the court documents that's down there. I think it's, I'd be pressed to say that it's his best work, but it's really high up there. He's the best at what he does. But no, yeah, circling back to the original thing that I wanted to say on that one, when Michael paid off one of the scumbag accusers, well, it was more or less the father of a kid who was in dire straits, and then just thought, I could lay some false accusations on Michael's name. It was like a dentist or some shit like that who was in a whole bunch of trouble in and of himself. But yeah, I could say some things were happening between Michael Jackson and this kid, and I could make out with some quick cash, and yeah, under the advisement of Sony to just hurry up and pay somebody off so we can get this tour underway. He ended up cutting a check, and those were some accusations that followed him all the way through until this day, really. So yeah, thank God that practice is basically dying out, because Johnny Depp showed the way. No, just continue to fight forward, and eventually, if you have enough capital behind you, you can make those things disappear. But back to this, okay? So that's basically the ideation behind this entire catch and kill scheme. You're going to see that as well. Hush money, catch and kill, and conspiracy to do election interference in 2016. Yeah, those are going to be the buzzwords for the next few years. Okay, the participants also took step to mischaracterize for tax purposes the true nature of the payments made in furtherance of the scheme. Sure thing. Why didn't you charge those? Just saying. One component of the scheme is that the defendants, at the defendant's request, a lawyer who worked for the Trump organization as special counsel to the defendant, that would be Michael Cohen, covertly paid $130,000 to an adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, shortly before the election to prevent her from publicizing a sexualized encounter with the defendant. Lawyer A, so Cohen, made $130,000 through a shell corporation he set up and funded to the bank in Manhattan. Interesting, because it was a home equity line of credit, so a HELOC that he put on his own house that is easily accessible when it comes to documentation. And if this was run through the Trump organization, why wouldn't you just find a way to maneuver some cash through there instead of creating additional paperwork? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. That, and there was also, what's her name, Annie McDougal? Is that the other one that's out there? Why isn't she part of this scheme? Oh, right. It's because it's all predicated on a lie. Because look at your star witnesses. A professional whore and a convicted liar. It's not going to work out well for you. But yes, lawyer A pleaded guilty to making an illegal campaign contribution, served time in prison, sentenced to 3 years in Club Fed. only ended up serving 18 months. That's kind of unprecedented in and of itself, because normally you're doing 80 to 90% of time served in the pen. But then that also makes me think that somebody comes forward and says that I have some information on Trump if you get me out of here. And then somebody who set themselves up to begin with ends up amplifying themselves to parlay that into another gig after he got fired from the Trump organization for being really bad at his job. Like, okay, cool. Again, this is all predicated on a convicted liar with an axe to grind. It's very dumb, but okay. Further false entries were made in New York business records to effectuate this payment, separate and apart from the New York business records used to conceal the payment. Oh, okay, cool. After the election, the defendant reimbursed lawyer A for the illegal payment through a series of monthly checks. First from Donald J. Trump Revocable Trust, the defendant's trust. We know. A trust created under the laws in New York, which held the Trump Organization entity assets after the defendant was elected president. Okay. It's weird because they're going specifically at Trump, but while Trump was in office, Eric, his son, was running the Trump Organization. So in actuality, this plan was also at least carried out under the knowledge of Eric, but you didn't charge him. Oh, it's almost like this is really political. Anyways. And then from the defendant's bank account. Oh, okay. Well, if you have the direct connection there, he's paying his lawyer. Interesting. Okay. Each check was processed by the Trump Organization, and the check was disguised as a payment for illegal services rendered in the given month of 2017 pursuant to the retainer agreement. It's paid for legal services, but Michael Cohen is saying that, no, actually, I was being reimbursed, but you were a lawyer at the time, so all right. It's like holding your employer accountable if you decide to buy drugs with your paycheck. Very strange. Very strange. In truth, there was no retainer agreement. Okay. And and Cohen was not being paid for legal services rendered in 2017. Okay. So again, you're going on the word of a liar that, oh, there was no agreement there whatsoever. But anyways, the defendant caused his entity's business records to be falsified to disguise his and others' criminal conduct. But nobody else is getting charged. All right. The defendant is the beneficial. This is the background. The beneficial owner of the collection of business entities known and traded as the Trump Organization. Yeah, all of that stuff as well. You know, okay, that's where Trump Tower is, approximately June 15th to November 2016. The defendant was a candidate for the office. Yeah, we know that stuff. Okay, so here it is, the catch and kill scheme to suppress negative information, which was fomented a long time ago, but okay, we're only just going to bring up the relevant dates, right? During and in furtherance of his candidacy for president, Trump and others agreed to identify and suppress negative stories about him. Two parties to this agreement have admitted to committing illegal conduct in connection with the scheme. Yeah, Daniels and Cohen. Hey, again, those are your star witnesses, huh? Okay. In August of 2018, Cohen pleaded guilty to 2 federal crimes involving illegal campaign contributions. Yeah, we kind of already went over that. And then the other one, lost a civil lawsuit and still owes Trump north of $500,000. So what are we doing here? In addition, in August of 2018, American Media Incorporated, AMI, that's David Pecker's place, a media company that has owned and published magazines and supermarket tabloids, including the National Enquirer, admitted in a non-prosecution agreement, that it made a payment to a source of a story that ensured that the source did not publicize damaging allegations. None of this is illegal so far about the defendant before the 2016 presidential election, and thereby influenced that election. How so? How can you directly correlate paying somebody for their story, not publishing it, to Trump would have definitely lost the 2016 election had this story come out? Everybody knew Trump fucks. Like, it's not a big surprise, but okay. 2015 Trump Tower meeting. Trump announced his candidacy. Yes, came down the golden escalator, the best escalator. Soon after August 2015, Trump met with Cohen and Pecker, Trump Tower, New York County. At the meeting, Pecker agreed to help the defendant's campaign, saying that he would act as the eyes and ears of the campaign. AMI CEO also agreed to publish negative stories about the defendant's competitor for the election. Okay. So he published things about Hillary Clinton. I'm surprised he's still alive. A few months later, okay, suppressing the doorman stories. Interesting. Okay. AMI CEO learned that former Trump Tower doorman was trying to, hereby known as a doorman. Great, wonderful, fantastic. So you see, oh, not that doorman. Was trying to sell information regarding a child that a defendant had allegedly fathered out of. Oh my God, Trump has a bastard. At the AMI CEO's direction. So now. Oh my God. Are these criminal charges or is this just a script from Jerry Springer? Like, what are we doing here? Okay. That's the AMI CEO's direction. AMI negotiated and signed an agreement to pay the doorman $30,000 to acquire exclusive rights to the story. None of this is illegal. Like, what are we doing? Shit like this happens on the regular. AMI falsely characterized the payment in AMI's books and records. Okay, but what does that have to do with Trump? Including in its general ledger, AMI purchased the information from the doorman without fully investigating his claims. Okay, so yeah, that was exactly like what I explained to begin with. Oh, you hear some salacious stuff. All right, bro, I hear you got a story. Wow, that's very interesting. How about 30 grand? Fantastic. Yeah, we'll run it next week sometime. You need to sign this NDA. You don't talk about the story anymore. We'll publish it. Fantastic. It's not illegal. It's absolutely not. When AMI later concluded that the story was not true, they're like, futz, we got bamboozled again. AMI CEO wanted to release the doorman from the agreement. However, Cohen instructed CEO not to release the doorman until after the presidential election. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, and the CEO complied with that instruction because he agreement with the defendant and lawyer A. So yes, this is just basically 6 degrees of Trump. Cohen did something, Trump most affected. Okay. Suppressing Stormy Daniels' account. Okay, I'd imagine this probably runs the exact same way. But again, this was from a supposed affair that happened in 2006. That story was going to be run in 2011 and in 2012 and then again in 2015. So your scheme theory behind this is a little spotty. AMI ultimately paid $150,000 to Woman 1 in exchange for her agreement not to speak out about the alleged sexual relationship. AMI falsely characterized the payment. And again, this is AMI, bro. Go after them if you're so vociferous on these claims. In conversation captured in audio recordings at approximately September 2016 concerning Woman 1's account, Trump and Cohen discussed how to obtain the rights to the story and AMI and how to reimburse AMI for the payment. Okay, lawyer A told the defendant he would open up the company to transfer Woman 1's account and other information, and stated that he had spoken to the chief financial officer for the Trump organization. Okay, so top CFO, to set the whole thing up. Okay, so what do we got to pay for this? $150, he suggested, by paying cash. That's Trump making the suggestion. I've heard bits and pieces of this audio recording. I guess we're just going to have to go on Michael Cohen's word that that's full context. When lawyer A disagreed, the defendant then mentioned payment by check. Okay, how much to make this story go away? We've been through this before, Michael. So yes, after the conversation, Cohen created a shell company. Oh, okay, cool. So was that also at the direction of Trump? Was Cohen allowed to dress himself in the morning without the request of Trump when it came to what suit he's supposed to wear? Like, come on. Less than 2 months before the election, on or about September 30th, AMI CEO signed an agreement in which AMI agreed to transfer its rights to Woman 1's, so Stormy Daniels' account to Cohen Shell Company for $125. However, the assignment agreement was signed, but before the reimbursement took place. So, okay, yeah, on good faith, which sucks to be you if you're engaging in good faith agreements with Michael Cohen, suppressing Woman 2's account. All right, so this is, exactly? About 1 month before the election, on or about October 7th, news broke that the defendant had been caught on tape saying, I just started kissing the woman. It's like a magnet. Just kiss and don't even wait. When you're a star, they let you do anything. They can do anything. You can grab them by the... you said pussy, but you put genitalia. You could do anything. It's great. It's fantastic. The evidence shows that both the evidence will show. Oh my God, when this eventually does go to trial, they're going to be playing the pussy tape again. Shit's funny. The defendant and his campaign staff were concerned that the tape could harm the viability of the candidate. Yeah, and his standing with female voters in particular. Oh, so you're trying to say that because the pussy tape came out, that's the reason behind you want to suppress the information that you already carried out from a week before? Fuck is going on, bro? Oh my God. Shortly after the Access Hollywood tape became public, AMI editor-in-chief contacted the CEO about another woman who alleged, wow, after that, then all of a sudden you start to get some Me Too claims, and they're like, oh, for fuck's sakes. Okay. Yeah, who had a sexual encounter with Trump when he was married. Of course, man, of course. So you had some cockroaches in the wall want to come forward and, get some money. Okay, so on or about October 10th, 2016, the AMI editor-in-chief contacted lawyer A, so Cohen, with woman two's lawyer, lawyer B. So Cohen then negotiated a deal with, is this Michael Avenatti? Because that shit would be so fucking funny. Okay, you'd have to get a day pass from the clink in order to testify. Shit would be funny to secure woman two's silence and prevent disclosure of damaging information in the final weeks before the presidential election. But again, Hillary Clinton's email servers, though, not a thing wrong with those. The defendant directed Cohen to delay making the payment to woman 2 as long as possible. Yeah, exactly. Just keep her stringing along so that you don't eventually have to cut that check. Lol, sucks to suck. Ultimately, with pressure mounting and the election approaching, the defendant agreed to a payoff. Okay, so they extorted appropriately, and then he got some cash, 130 G's. It's good work if you can find it. On or about October 26th, shortly before speaking to the defendant on the phone, Cohen opened a bank account in Manhattan in the name of Essential Consultants. He transferred $131,000 from his personal home line of HELOC account into the account. Fucking moron. On October 27th, Cohen wired $130,000 from his Essential account to lawyer B to suppress the woman's account. Okay, so he opened up a HELOC on his house. Fucking moron. That's tax-free money, by the way, that you can take out and then just use in certain circumstances, but he decided to pay off a gold digger. Oh well. On November 8th, 2016, the defendant won the presidential election and became the president-elect. Do you remember where you were at that point in time? I remember where I was, watching in disbelief with the rest of the world. And then the moment, I guess that would have been November 9th, first thing in the morning. Trump gets up to the podium, Barron's like half awake, the rest of his family's on the stage. Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business. Oh man, hopefully we get that again. I'm praying to the Lord. The defendant was inaugurated as president on January 20th, 2017, and then an insurrection happened 4 years later, blah, blah, blah. Who fucking cares? Defendants falsified bank records shortly after being elected president, on or around January 2017. See, we got specific dates of everything else, but when it comes to, certain crimes being committed, we can't quite get all the dates correct. Even though you would have a visitor log at the White House, but don't worry about that at all. Trump Organization CFO and Cohen agreed to a total repayment of $420,000. Okay, so you get a little dap up for a job well done. Okay. So what does that have to do with Trump, though? Because this is just alleging everybody but Trump is telling you and making sure that you're well compensated for your work. Why is Trump getting charged with this stuff? Makes no sense. They reached a figure, yes, by adding the $50,000 payment from another expense in which Cohen claimed reimbursement. Again, this is all predicated on Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen being your true and honest fact teller. Oh well. The Trump Organization CFO then doubled that amount to $360,000 so that lawyer A could characterize the payment as income on his tax returns instead of reimbursement, and lawyer A would be left with $180,000 after paying approximately $50,000 in the taxes. Finally, Trump Organization CFO added an additional $60,000 as a year-end bonus. Okay, outside of characterizing it as maybe income, but if you did it as a part of your job, and a part of your job was fulfilling the contract that you organized between David Pecker and Donald Trump, is it not income? Like, isn't that a part of your job then at that point in time? And because you were stupid about fucking using, finances and shit, I don't know, man. Again, this is super fucking flimsy. I thought we were going to find some sort of breakthrough. This is supposed to be a statement of facts. Again, this just sounds like a journal from a high school girl. The defendant, the Trump Organization CFO, and Cohen then agreed to that lawyer A would be paid $420,000 through 12 monthly payments of $35,000 over the course of 2017. So yes, 12 monthly payments, those original accusations to begin with, those checks, those stubs as well, that's where the 34 counts ends up happening. February 2017, the defendant and so Trump and Cohen met in the Oval Office. On or about February 14th, 2017, Cohen emailed the controller of the Trump Organization the first monthly invoice that stated, pursuant to the retainer agreement, kindly remit payments of the services rendered for the month of January and February of 2017. Invoice requested the amount of $35,000 for each of the 2 months. Yes, we know. Okay, so Cohen submitted 10 similarly monthly invoices by email. Okay, yes, so there we go. That's where everything is starting to add up. And I guess that this is felony worthy. Okay, the Trump Organization controller forwarded each invoice to the Trump Organization accounts payable supervisor. So probably some portly broad sitting at a computer desk and it's going, okay, well, I'll just pay. Anyways, as instructed, the accounts payable supervisor recorded each payment in the Trump Organization's electronic accounting system. Cool. Trump Organization maintained digital entry for each expense called a voucher. That's the stubs. Payable supervisor. Okay, so again, was Trump the guy that was sitting down there with the, the green visor with a smoke hanging out of his mouth while he's just typing away on his different adding machines? Like, where's Trump? It was his organization, though. Are you having a laugh? The remaining 9 checks corresponding with the months April through December 2017 were paid to the defendant personally. Each of these checks were cut from the defendant's bank account and sent along with the corresponding invoices. So it's interesting. Okay, listen, Mike, listen, we're going to go through my organization for the first few months, but then it'll come directly out of my bank account afterwards. This really sounds like a well thought out plan and definitely not a grander lie in service of just finally getting that dastardly orange man. Like, none of this shit fucking makes sense. The checks and the stubs bearing false statements were stapled to the invoices, also bearing false statements, according to Michael Cohen. $35,000 payments stopped December 2017 payment. Yeah, because that was the agreement. I'm going to pay you through 2017. But then they stopped. We know. Investigation into Cohen and Trump's pressure campaign. Which one's that? Okay. On or about April 9th, 2018, FBI executed a search warrant on Cohen's residence. Yeah, and then he was eventually snatched up. April 21st, the defendant publicly commented on Twitter, encouraging Cohen not to flip, stating, most people flip if the government lets them out of trouble, even if it means lying or making up stories. Sorry, I don't see Cohen doing that. And then he did flip, and he's like, well, fuck this guy. On or about June 14th, lawyer C, who is, oh my god, we got so many lawyers here all of a sudden. That's Cohen's lawyer. Okay. I don't really care about the back and forth on that stuff. All of those accusations, they were all hammered out years ago when Cohen was put on trial. Lawyer A, so Cohen and David Pecker, admit to guilt and connection. Cool. What does Trump have to do with this? Ultimately, other participants in the scheme admitted the payoffs were unlawful. That's fantastic, but do the receipts add up to that? In on or about September of 2018. Again, we don't need to get into specifics. We're just indicting a former president. Don't worry about it. We'll get it later. AMI entered into a non-prosecution agreement with the United States Attorney's Office of Southern District of New York in connection with the AMI payoff of Stormy Daniels, admitting to, at no time during the negotiation or acquisition of Daniels' story did AMI intend to publish a story or disseminate information about it. So this just kind of sounds like they're giving testimony. Okay. Publicly. Great. Fantastic. Daniels did not publicize damaging allegations before 2016 presidential election, thereby influenced that election. Interesting. Okay, so their plan worked and now they're getting snatched up for it? Shit's stupid. In August 21st, 2018, Cohen pleaded guilty to felonies in connection with his role. Okay, yeah, so he pleaded guilty to something. He took a plea deal. and now you're trying to hold that against Trump. Interesting. All right. Cohen pleaded guilty, yes, to another felony, coordination with and direction of Trump. Yes, see, Trump made me do it. Again, this is like whenever any bitch is just trying to weasel her way out of any bad decisions that she made. I didn't do it. It was the booze that made me do it. Oh, just fuck off. You wanted to fuck him and you needed an occasion to do as much. So there's the statement of facts. Not a lot of facts in it or anything, but we do, in fact, have some statements from Trump leading up to his speech. At time of recording, it's about an hour and change before he's going to be making those statements from Mar-a-Lago, and that's going to be fun as hell to go through tomorrow night. Hopefully you join me for that. But what do we have from Trump on Truth Social? Shout out once again to the Censored Man. Great stuff as always. Just lifted off from Palm Beach, Florida. Will be delivering remarks tonight in Mar-a-Lago at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. The hearing was shocking to many, and they had no surprises and therefore no case. Virtually every legal pundit has said that there is no case here. There was nothing done illegally. None whatsoever at all. Alvin Bragg shut down New York City, brought in 38,000 of some of New York's best and brightest. The boys in blue. We back the boys in blue. I will spend an estimated $200 million, millions and millions of dollars in New York City funds for a totally legal $130,000 NDA. Totally legal, folks. It's well documented. It's a practice that's been used forever and ever. On top of that, the Ninth Circuit Court just awarded me, your favorite president, $122,000, over $500,000 already awarded to, here it comes, folks, from Stormy Horseface Daniels. She's such a horse. I take my plane, but I could also ride her because she's got such a horse face. That would be the only time that I've ridden her, folks. I've never, if I was going to step out on the greatest first lady of all time, if I was going to step out on Melania, it wouldn't be with her. She's not the one, folks. That horse, I could put something in my hand for her, but I'd have to make sure that I lay it flat because I wouldn't want my fingers bitten, folks. Not from her. Not from her. She's not the one. Yeah, man. Trump should be touching down here real quick if he hasn't already, and then be up at the podium, like he says right there, 8:15 p.m. sharp. That's 6 o'clock for me, and about an hour from the time of recording, and we'll be tuning in for that one because we already looked at the statement of facts, and, well, those are your facts. Sheesh. I look forward to your case. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I should follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.